Fun fact, actually just fact. Ahead of the 2020 presidential election, John Taffer reached out to both candidates for an interview, specifically focused on the recovery of the hospitality industry post-lockdown. As John alleges, Donald Trump's campaign was the first to respond, so an interview was conducted that was then aired on the now defunct John Taffer podcast. It's a cookie cutter Trump interview, okay? What else can I say? It lasts about 10 minutes and he forgets what he's talking about. Gosh, maybe 4 times.
So we can look forward to another round of PPP?
Yes, absolutely. And
we can look forward
quickly.
to your commitment to business meal deductions.
Yep.
We can
it was
look
actually
forward.
my idea. I'm the one that brought it up.
I know, I heard
they
you say
said,
it.
what does it mean? You heard it from me first, right?
Yeah.
They all said, what does it mean? I said, it was very easy to explain. But what it is the best single thing. Best part of our conversation is talking about it. We're going to get it.
That being said, the actual content of the conversation shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone. But what surprised and kind of upset me was the palpable power dynamic on display. When seated in front of Donald Trump, John Taffer goes from dark, brooding mage to the king's spineless fool. Even outside of the interview itself, John and his co-host continue to romanticize the interaction, with John at one point alluding to the fact that Trump respected him more upon seeing his wife, Nicole.
He was extremely gracious to you, Corey, was he not?
He was, and I got a picture with him. Pretty excited about it.
You did. He called you a handsome guy, too.
He did, yeah. I think he was hitting on me a little bit.
And then he met my wife, Nicole, and he says to me, well, you even mean more to me now than you did before. So Nicole brought me up a notch. You brought me up a notch. It was a great day. But you know what, folks? Professionalism is professionalism.
And reminder, this is the same John who, when faced with a strikingly similar situation in Season 3, Episode 11 of Bar Rescue, almost took a man's life. So is Trump really that important to you? Or are you just trying to stay off of those flight logs? Because no person, let alone a 78-year-old man, should ever have that amount of power over another human being. John is the royal fool, the jester, spending a life of servitude singing the praises of a king who will never see him as more than currency. While inherently political, I mainly wanted to start the video off like this to remind you guys of why I cover this show, why I cover John Taffer. Bar Rescue is my favorite show on TV, but it's because of the wild nuances that surround every single aspect of the project. People, figures, shows like this are what make the art of criticism necessary and enjoyable. So with nuance in mind, today I'd like to take a look at a classic and highly layered episode titled Thugs with Mugs.
Come, get a drink, get a bitch, over to Yonkers, man.
The hood comes when you're here, because the hood is our only crowd.
Faced with a deteriorating bar, an uninspired staff, and a lifelong friendship against the ropes, Miguel and Brian find themselves $120,000 in debt and on the verge of getting knocked out. Before the final bell rings, Miguel and Brian have agreed to pull back the doors, bust open the books, and make a call for help to Bar Rescue.
Yeah, I know what I'm watching, don't worry. Yeah, right off the bat, I'm noticing a feature of this bar that I have yet to see John deal with, and that, my friends, is ass shaking. All right, so when we talk about nuance, I mean, yeah, there you go. Miguel and Brian are co-owners of Undisputed, a boxing-themed sports bar and grill that is in pretty much the exact state I'd expect a bar like this to be in. Okay, doing good here. As the show puts it, this bar straddles the line between North and South Yonkers, two areas of the same city with a pretty drastic median income difference.
The city is divided into two vastly different economic parts. North Yonkers has a household income of $28,000, whereas the up-and-coming South Yonkers has nearly twice the median household income.
Up and coming. Well, that's interesting. I've never heard gentrification pronounced like that before. Say the phrase up and coming to any man in Brooklyn that looks like me, and watch him Superman his hand-rolled cigarette in excitement. Yeah, let's get some low-income visuals here, yeah? Perhaps a couple bandos, okay? Perhaps some public transit. And let's make sure that the people know that the South Side is where it's at, because we are dressed nicely and are going somewhere. I hate to pick this apart so early on, but the storytelling is absolute bullshit. In fact, here's a video that I found of someone driving the entire length of the city of Yonkers. Okay, what you've been seeing so far is the South Side, and now we're taking a look at the north side, and look, you'll notice there are certainly visual differences. However, none of what I'm seeing in this YouTube video seems even slightly reminiscent of what they've shown us in the episode so far. Except for this shot. And here's where it gets annoying. That shot was taken right here, okay? Right here on this intersection. I'll show you. Yeah, so obviously it looks a little different now, but you can see here in the shot, you know, here's the comparison. All right. However, this shot here that they used to represent South Yonkers is right here, okay? I'm gonna show you that as well, right here. Okay, we're gonna drop in. Okay, there it is. You can see the bar sign, same bar sign that's right here. So if this shot was taken here, and this shot was taken here, would that mean that these shots are just a block away from each other? Yes, I fear that is the case. I think the audience is being misled. And on behalf of the people of Yonkers, I'm gonna do something insane. It's gonna be really insane.
So guys, here we are, Yonkers, New York. What's interesting about this market is the difference between North Yonkers and South Yonkers. North Yonkers is lower income. South Yonkers, there's a whole new young, upwardly mobile type that's moving in here. They call this part of Yonkers Soyo. It's almost like a Soho of Westchester County.
Oh,
in the bartending community, they've actually been talking.
I get it, John. Oh my, you think differently, man. For the bar, John has called in one of my personal favorite guests on the show, Russell Davis. Watch this. They always show him doing this fire thing. Oh, hey! Our kitchen expert, however, is a new face on the channel, Aaron McCargo, a celebrity chef and author, and that's it.
John has brought in chef Aaron McCargo. Aaron is known for simple but sophisticated recipes that can turn any dull menu into a sensational palate experience.
Oh, okay, so he's good at making food. You could have just said that. Why are they trying their hardest to say as little as they can about this guy? I'm sorry, am I the only one who remembers Big Daddy's house? Why are more people not talking about that? By the way, for all my motorheads out there, my gearheads, recon this evening is taking place in an actively moving 2014 Mercedes-Benz Sprinter 2500. Woo! Obviously, nothing will beat the classic mob hit machine, but I like this one. It's fun. It's dynamic. Remember in middle school when you would go on a field trip and every now and then one of the like super fancy charter buses would show up instead of the regular school bus? That was so clutch. That's what this reminds me of.
I have 3 guys as my spies tonight. They work in New York, live in South Yonkers, and they're the perfect guys to give me their opinions on this bar.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It looks like Matt's having second thoughts about this operation. I'd check in. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he needs this, you know, just a good old night out with the fellas, you know, just like me and Chris and that other guy. Let's give him a chance. He might be one of those guys that takes a second to warm up in social settings.
Give me just a Manhattan's, straight up whiskey.
All right, well, I was wrong and I hate him. He kind of gets what he deserves, though, when the bartender China proceeds to make the Manhattans using red vermouth that they keep out on the shelf. Little alcoholic lore here for those of you that aren't familiar with, being an alcoholic. Typically, unless you know you're gonna go through a bottle in like a week, you should refrigerate your vermouth after opening it. So this is gonna be rough no matter what. You might as well stir it with a broken mercury thermometer. The head chef Marcos really likes to leave the fucking refrigerator door hanging wide open at all times, and it captivates the team so much that they just watch him in silence for 5.5 minutes.
A minute that door's been open.
If it were happening in my restaurant, he would be fired.
Close the door!
Yeah, close the fucking door. Look at Russell when it goes into the danger zone. It looks like he's having his come-to moment at the slot machine.
Look at Brian having his beer.
At least Miguel is walking around, showing his face. He's got Brian sitting at the end of the bar just drinking beer and staring at people weird.
Oh, God. Have you guys ever seen someone do that stare in real life? It's so gross. You know, if you're not blackout yet, you're pretty goddamn close. It's that lobotomy kind of drunk. If you look at me like this at a bar, I'm immediately looking down to see if you're pissing yourself. So from what we've learned so far, it would seem that the ones truly holding down the fort here are Miguel and his wife, Tanya. Brian is busy.
Drinking the bar! You ain't running the bar! What are you doing?
You're handing me doing shots with that in your hand like you always do.
Come on, man.
Two more shots.
Man, sit there and fall but you guys both do nothing.
The only undisputed part of this bar is that it sucks.
Let's blow this battle bus, boys. I'm dropping undisputed. Ah, Russell, I see your freak ass is wearing the Chun-Li skin again. While John spent some time snarling at Brian, Chun-Li makes an interesting discovery behind the bar with China.
You guys handle all of your liquor legally and everything?
Honestly, no.
Honestly, no?
They get the cheap liquor and they put it in here.
Okay, so like that bottle.
Yeah.
Putting cheaper brands of alcohol into premium spirit bottles. That's the type of thing that gets your liquor license taken away and your bar shut down.
No, yeah, I think it's a bit more than that. That's fraud. I think he's supposed to be in jail. Hey, while we're at it, what are the laws surrounding the tender of poopy? Because it turns out Marcos has been storing all of the food at 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, granted, we're rushing the process a bit, you know, we're missing a few elements. But we're essentially making poop here, guys.
So all that food is garbage. All of this is garbage. Aaron, we gotta throw away everything in this kitchen.
But let's get back to this whole fraud thing. Guys, this is really bad. And I say this for a couple of reasons. Obviously, you know, like the law. But I'm actually more concerned about Russell here. I mean, total crash out. He's like beating sweat all of a sudden.
Which one of you two, or is it both of you, are pouring cheap liquor into premium bottles?
Neither one of them.
Don't you bull me. I've had two of your employees tell me that you did. I've seen the bottles. I've seen the bottles. I've tasted the liquor.
Neither one of me and him ever poured a cheap liquor bottle. Show me that I poured cheap liquor. Because you know it's a damn lie. You know I didn't do it.
Here's your funnel.
No, guys, come on. You know what? When you put that there, that was just sitting there. So yeah, the jig's up and John's not happy. So that means it's time for immediate night-night. However, for Undisputed Sports Bar and Grill, the horrors of the evening had just begun. I assume they had the camera crew stick around for a couple of hours after John left to see if anything debaucherous would happen, and debauchery occurred.
Hey, buy me a drink before I leave here, what, man? Shut the up. How about that? Go!
Cops, call the cops, call the cops. I want to go downstairs. Can I go downstairs? I'm going downstairs. I'm sorry. I don't know people.
Well, that's a bar rescue first. The crew just got fucking jumped. By the way, not sure if you guys picked up on this, but Russell was in there. My boy was getting active. Big Daddy was unfortunately a little late to the game. You can see over here, it looks like he was texting and missed the first swing. They take this shit all the way down the block, though, baby. I'm talking gone wrong, cops called, and still Brian is drinking himself into a stupor. I'd say this is the nastiest night I've seen on Bar Rescue so far. The O-Face is a close second, but this is just pure chaos. This violent display was enough to warrant breaking the fourth wall for a full crew safety meeting with the local police deputy, where multiple members of the crew refused to continue the rescue without police presence on the premises. I'm not sure what about this situation was screaming, "Yes, keep going," to John as he tossed and turned that night at the Hampton Inn and Suites, but here we are, aren't we?
Last night, my crew got assaulted. Assaulted! And I will not tolerate that.
So we're gonna be making some big changes around here, guys, okay? It is an undisputed fact that we need to start standing up for each other.
He hasn't been doing his part, I don't believe, as a
Who?
owner. Brian.
She can say I haven't been doing my part, but I'm here more than everybody.
The fight breaks out because you're letting in everybody.
The last time you were here on the weekend.
I don't have to be here. I have friends that come here all the time. They don't have to be here.
So how do you know?
My
You're telling me, how do you know?
If you want to leave my example,
I had to do
you
it.
come in here looking like a dog. You come here with the hat. You come here with the hoodie.
When the storm of the morning finally settles, John calls in an ex-bartender of the establishment named Jen, who claims she left out of fear for her life due to conditions within the bar, a sentiment that the rest of the staff agrees with. So we're just gonna talk about all the potential lawsuits and not do anything about them? Yeah, I think that's gonna be pretty awesome. Yeah, I think so.
My family was disrespected here, threatened, endangered, and you're standing in the corner drunk. And you want me to care about you, and you put the people that I care about most at risk.
I I honestly didn't think we were going to see the other side of this one, and my hottest take is that we probably shouldn't have. Continuing this process at this point feels irresponsible. However, miraculously, everyone is able to get on the same page for, as far as we're concerned, the next 3 days. Now they're actually doing stuff, which is an absolute fucking treat. I don't think I've ever waited this long to see them do something productive. Aaron hits the kitchen with Marcos to teach him how to not poison people, because remember, we don't do that here anymore. I guess. He also wants the food to be sexy.
You want to make sexy food here. Yeah. Good crowd, beautiful people. Let's make beautiful food.
But I think that's a pretty big ask from Marcos right off the bat, okay? You know, sexy is a pretty big step up from killing people, wouldn't you say? Now, let's talk about the bar. Russell's plan is to refresh the staff with some New York classics that I can guarantee you no one is going to order. That's the thing that always gets me about the cocktail improvement section in the dive bars. Like, unless you're this piece of shit.
Some Manhattans, straight up whiskey.
You're not coming here for a craft cocktail, okay? You're coming for a Jack and Coke, and you're coming for an ass-throwing competition. Sorry for speaking the truth. Sorry for speaking the truth. I will play both sides here a bit, though, because I feel like the ultimate goal of this exercise was to remind the staff of how easy it is to make a good cocktail when you don't have 15 mats bitching in your ear telling you it sucks.
There's been no teamwork. And then as we were training them, we actually saw this team grow.
Good job.
Woo! Yeah. And this bar is going to be a cohesive, great environment if they continue to work together.
So we know how to make food. We don't totally hate each other. And hey, now we have security. Folks, I don't know if this is just Stockholm Syndrome, but I think these guys might be able to pull off a successful stress test.
You ready? It's about to get hot and heavy up in here, and I ain't talking about no rap song.
And for the most part, I would call this successful with the exception of one unique issue. Their equipment and setup is so old that they literally can't keep pace no matter how hard they try. They have an old school draft system that requires them to continuously shovel ice into it to cool the taps. So they're using ice to do like 4 different things at once. It's literally Overcooked in real life. Andy, Overcooked is just how a regular restaurant works in real life. Shut your bitch ass up.
The owners aren't working together. They're fighting. They have food going out to the wrong tables.
All right, just hang in there.
So I just sucked up a piece of glass through my straw. That's not
Look at this.
something you want to find in your drink.
Miguel, come eat this quick! Well, guess we have to clear out and drain all the fucking ice now. Can we get some more ass throwing in the meantime? So the only real issue here seems to be Miguel and Brian's communication behind the scenes. Probably on account of the fact that Brian has worked every single shift of his career up until this point blackout drunk. You know, if you really think about it, this is Brian's first shift ever. Admittedly, not bad. You remember that one couple that John had to breathalyze every day when they came in? That poor guy was literally having withdrawals behind the bar. Hypothetically, all they need to do now is mend this relationship, get a nice looking rebrand, and they should be back on their feet. Maybe.
South Yonkers is a hot area. 2-bedroom apartment is $3,500 a month. Wow. So these people work in Manhattan, right? They're used to proper cocktails. They're used to hot, fresh foods. There's 8 bars in this area. None of them fit that cosmopolitan Manhattan kind of feel. So what we have to do is we have to displace the thugs and replace them with the locals that are living in these apartments.
That is actually fucking crazy. How do you not have pause after saying that out loud? I'm sorry, it's just getting to the point where it feels like they're trying to make an example out of these people rather than help them. Those locals paying $3,500 a month for their 2 beds aren't locals, they're new money transplants. And I say that as someone who fits the criteria. When John doesn't understand a culture, we have seen that he will do everything he can to replace it with one that he does. Sometimes to an offensive extent. He has literally said that he thinks businesses don't have a soul.
Businesses don't have souls. Businesses are profit centers.
I am no expert. I have not taken a single business class, but I'm going to go ahead and assume that that statement is incredibly naive. I can confidently say that I don't support the practices and activities of this place, but I also recognize that this is taking place within a community of lived experiences that I don't share. You know, it wouldn't be my place to then go in there and impose my idea of what I think their business should be. Because, like, how am I gonna make it any better? There's a sense of obsessive xenophobia to the idea of, hey, this bar in the middle of low-income Yonkers, New York doesn't quite feel like home to me. I need to fix that. Putting a crew-only isolated meeting with the cops on camera doesn't show the audience that you want to provide for these people and their community. It makes it look like you're afraid of them and you want others to be. It's not cool, man.
Russell, what do you see?
Great eclectic craft cocktails. Use some great flavors, like blueberry preserves. Maybe do sage, basil.
I like it a lot.
Please take one fucking look around. Well, if we're going to heal one thing here, it might as well be Brian and Miguel's relationship. And it seems that John has quite a nasty trick up his sleeve.
I'm gonna take the staff on a little field trip, get them motivated. See you guys a little bit.
We've spent so much time in this episode doing close to nothing that I totally forgot about the entire reason that they opened this bar in the first place, which is their crazy boxing lore. Now, I'm a little torn on how I feel about this solution, but John seems to think that the best way for them to get over their gripe is to beat the living shit out of each other while everyone watches.
Oh, he's throwing some bombs. They're exhausted, but they're still fighting because they won't give up.
While I think it's slightly effective, I'm also pretty sure John is about to run this business into the ground, so I don't feel amazing that he's making them fight for his pleasure. They also have an entire day of training after this, so I don't know. Let's see what unnecessary nonsense they're gonna throw on this menu to ruin everyone's lives.
Do 1 ounce of Tanqueray. Do a ½ ounce of our elderflower liqueur. ½ an ounce of simple syrup. Take our lemon. A heaping bar spoon of our blueberry preserve. 2 or 3 sage leaves in there. And give it a good shake. So we call this one Eclectic Blue.
So I want to make this burger into a quesadilla-style burger with a little bit of chipotle heat. We're going to take the patties, put it on tortillas, and we're going to toast it.
Yeah, can't wait to get into a screaming match with my beautiful wife while double fisting my Eclectic Blue and quesadilla burger. I can already smell this going downhill. How long do you think it takes before someone forgets to order the blueberry preserves? Perhaps what I find most ineffective about the revamp is the rebrand for, like, every reason.
1, 2, 3.
I'm going crazy right now. It looks beautiful. None in the neighborhood look like this, dog.
He turned the shit into like a trendy date spot. What the fuck is their problem? This is literally like going from the Salty Spittoon to Weenie Hut Juniors. Once again, it's feeling rather offensive. I feel the same way about the updated bar that I do about the snow leopards at the Central Park Zoo. Like, why are you here?
Thugs don't come to bars that have bright colors and are brightly lit in front. Your dark colors made them comfortable to walk in. This color combination doesn't.
God, he's really doubling down on that displacement thing. Also, are we not going to talk about the new formal attire requirement? As the show lets us know, 6 weeks later, Soyo is the hottest spot in Yonkers, which surprises me. Not only because they were able to get their shit together, but because of how screwed over they were by John. Over the next year and a half, 65 separate police incidents would take place directly outside of Soyo, forcing it to close its doors in July of 2016. It doesn't matter how good you are at business. If you don't understand the working people who make those businesses happen, your business is bound to fail eventually, every single time. Consider this bar rescued. I've done it again, baby. I've done it. Thanks for watching this, guys. If you enjoyed, please be sure to like and comment and subscribe. Click that button. Okay, so click it and then wait. Guys, that's all I have for you this time, okay? Let's just cut to the chase. Until next time. Guys, check it out. Mosquito and Ember from Jurassic Park.